Rodri ready to sign a new deal at Manchester City. How does this impact the transfer market? We say this simply because, obviously, Rodri signing for City, well, that could impact Elliot Anderson. Could it not? Well, most people will say City are still going to go for Elliot Anderson because Bernardo Silva is leaving. And, of course, that is something else that City are looking into. Rodri has been under discussions and contract talks for several weeks now. It was reported that Real Madrid were going to go in for Rodri. That not happening could also impact what happens with the likes of Tchouaméni and the links of him leaving Real Madrid. Rodri signing for City obviously isn't going to stop them moving forward in the transfer market. And by all accounts and everything that has been said so far that we have covered here on Adam FC, it is looking likely that Elliot Anderson heads to Manchester City. Has this changed though? I mean, if you're Elliot Anderson looking at the situation now, you've got Gonzalez and you've got Rodri in that central midfield. Elliot Anderson is not going to play week in, week out like he is now at Nottingham Forest. Does this deter players? Does this put them off actually making a move, knowing that a Ballon d'Or winner is going to be competing against them in that sport? Do they strive to challenge the best and they go there anyway? It's just opened up a different avenue of conversation, hasn't it, really, now? With Rodri committing to Manchester City, also what Matteo Moretto has said just this last hour, that talks obviously have been going on for weeks, like we said, and Rodri is now closer to signing this new deal. It's big news for Manchester City, of course. A lot of Manchester City fans not as bothered about Rodri staying. Obviously, he's lost a bit of pace. He's come back from the big injury and hasn't performed to the same levels that got him the Ballon d'Or. Nowhere near that. Maybe this is just Manchester City securing squad depth, keeping Rodri, then going to sign Elliot Anderson. I don't think this is going to massively impact City's plans for the summer. Obviously, Bernardo Silva leaving is why I think Elliot Anderson is on the cards there. But everything else that goes on in and around this transfer window now is going to be impacted by big moves like this. Any club that were looking to move a player on, or it was likely that that player was going to leave, is obviously going to stop other clubs moving for their players also. So by that I mean obviously like Tchouaméni, for instance, and players leaving Real Madrid because Rodri's going to arrive. They're still looking at Sandro Tonali, Real Madrid as well. They're still looking at Enzo Fernandez, also from Chelsea. So they could obviously pivot and go to a different target. But Rodri was a big one. And Pep Guardiola, talking about Rodri, has always said that he wants him to stay. He wants him at the football club. He hopes he stays. But you cannot ignore Real Madrid when they come knocking. Maybe what's happened this week has been the convince off. And maybe all the turmoil and everything that's going on around Real Madrid is going to deter Rodri. Look, as a Man United fan, you look at this and you hope that this might impact the Elliot Anderson transfer. It's kind of, well, not very hopeful, let's just say that. I don't think that this is going to stop it, like I said. But there's always that little bit on top of this from the player's side. And I kind of look at it and think, well, Elliot Anderson's probably thinking that he's going to replace one of the best. Now he's going to compete alongside one of the best. And obviously, I made it clear earlier on in the video that might be what some players love and would want to do, go and play with the best. I think that's probably where we're at with this one. But what are other Manchester City players looking at now when they look at Elliot Anderson potentially coming in? And the Pep Guardiola situation has still not been sorted yet. I do think that with Rodri signing this deal, there is well, look at it this way. If you're Rodri and you're looking at the future, this is your last contract, this is your last big deal, would you not want to play it out with Pep Guardiola in charge and play under one of the greatest managers to be in the Premier League and European football, because that's what Pep is? Would you not want that? And it kind of makes me feel like discussions have been going on, and Rodri would, of course, want reassurances of who is going to be in charge at Manchester City, who is going to be taking over if, in fact, Pep Guardiola was leaving. Does this mean that he's confident that Pep's staying? Does this mean he's happy with the manager that's coming in and Pep's leaving? Obviously, money talks as well on top of this, but Rodri could go anywhere and get as much money as he wanted. He doesn't have to stay at Manchester City. I think this this contract extension for Rodri kind of gives us a little bit of insight into what's happening at Man City. I can't help but feel like this is Pep Guardiola staying, and he's told Rodri that he wants him. Because like he's done everything and had the most successful time in his career under Pep Guardiola. And that does play on the minds of players. You can't ignore that. Who they're playing under is a big part of their futures. And if there was any uncertainty at all on Rodri's side, Pep Guardiola leaving would confirm him leaving himself, I feel. I think that there is something confidence-wise within the player and the players' camp that Pep Guardiola is staying on this one. I do. And if that is the case, then that obviously impacts the other transfers as well, because Elliot Anderson is going to want to go and play for Pep Guardiola. As painful as it is, me saying this as a United fan, I have to obviously accept that Pep Guardiola is the best in the world at the moment when it comes to trophies won and what he's doing in the Premier League. Well, the world's debatable because you've also got Ancelotti out there, but he's not in club football anymore. And then you're struggling to find anybody. Enrique is probably the one that is the best right now in terms of what he's doing with PSG. But let's just say the Premier League, Pep still is the best manager. I think that's clear for everyone to see. And anybody playing in the Premier League who wants to stay in England, you're going to want to play under the best managers, aren't you? And they're going to get more out of you. And you're going to have to look at other players that have gone there and succeeded. But then again, you look at other players like Phillips, who went to Manchester City, and his career is completely spun off now. Maybe there is a chance that Elliot Anderson is looking at this, but I feel like I am fully clutching at straws with it. Rodri signing for Manchester City, I'm going to give my personal opinion on this right now. In terms of me looking at this as an opposition fan, I don't think that this is a big issue. I don't think that this is a problem for everybody else. I think Rodri's on the decline. I do. And look, anybody can come back and say that's just a United fan talking about Manchester City and he's just trying to play it all down. Yeah, I totally get that. But no one can convince me that Rodri is going to be the star he was a couple of seasons back, Ballon d'Or winner. That's not going to be happening. So Rodri signing this new deal, I think is good for everybody as well. In terms of Elliot Anderson, I don't think it impacts it that much, or does it? I mean, you get into the comment section, do you think that this would deter Elliot Anderson moving, knowing that he's going to be competing against the best? He's not going to get the game time that he wants. Maybe is the way that I would look at that one. But signing Rodri on this new deal, I think it's City just getting organised and ready to go into the new season. Obviously, go into the summer transfer window as well and get the players that they want. And look, I've said this before for Man United side, if like Bruno Fernandes signs a new deal, then players are going to want to come and play with him. I think this maybe confirms Elliot Anderson comes in as well, because I think it just makes the club look a little bit more steady and secure. I said I don't rate Rodri as much, but in terms of a player going in, you're going to want to go and play with the best. You're going to go and want to play with Ballon d'Or winners. And I think, if anything, you could say that maybe it's a place gone and Elliot Anderson doesn't go there. I think it's the opposite. I do. I look, it sounds like I'm putting a big dampener on this for United fans, but I look, from everything that's been said on Elliot Anderson and where he's supposedly heading, I think this just secures it, in my opinion. I think players look at that and they look in detail at the players that are still at the club and how secure it is. If Rodri's signing, it might mean Pep signing. That means that Elliot Anderson's going to sign. That's how I see it anyway. Let me know what you think. Get into the comments below. Rodri close to signing that deal. Which way do you think that sends things? Do you think that pushes Elliot Anderson away, or do you think that convinces him to sign for Manchester City? Like, share and subscribe to Adam FC. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you all in the next video.